All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is Brother Mayum coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and sincerity. And just want to do a video, just saying that they had this this memorial for this CK character that just got sent back to the spirit world, and there was a lot of different guests that they had that came out and spoke and said a few things or whatever. But this dude right here that that we're gonna play, and if I remember, I'll take a screenshot of this dude and put him as a thumbnail so you see who I'm talking about. But this man, as you're gonna hear, I'm gonna play some of this video, and this is for fair use. This is being used for educational purposes. This clip is to correlate how the language that is being used in this speech that this guy is going to give, and how it correlates with the scriptures and the biblical Edomites. Okay, because as you're getting ready to hear, this is the true spirit of these Edomites. Okay, and there's no way around it, anymore at this point. But this is just more the picture becoming clearer of who these devils are and what their intentions on the earth is to do, and that's to conquer, okay, to enslave the world, and to through their pride be on top of everyone else. Okay, that's what these devils, all right, have been trying to establish, through their policies, through their political systems that they've had in place. So without further ado, real quick also before I begin, just in case I forgot to, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders apostles of Great Millstone. Much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and sincerity. So with that, let's go ahead and play some of this video. And Lord's will is edifying.
Who are gathered in sadness and sorrow to mourn Charlie Kirk, but also to dedicate ourselves to finishing his mission and achieving victory in his name.
Yeah, see, and one of the things that's spoken about in the book of Job, I believe chapter 20, near the top, it talks about that matter of fact, let me just get it. Job chapter 20 and verse 5, it says that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And so these devils are here speaking about getting a victory for this guy, but they're not going to obtain their victory is but for a moment, and their time really is up. Their time of victory, their time of triumphing over the world is up, because the earth has been given over onto your hand. And as this dude's going to go into in this speech, he brings up the Greeks, the Romans, all right, how their ancestors were the ones who did all those things during those times. And he's right. The people who run this earth descend from those same people that ruled Greece, that ruled the Romans, okay, the Roman Empire. These were all the lineage of the biblical Edomites, okay, the sons of Esau. Okay, the devil, the wicked ones the Bible speaks of, the devils on the earth. Okay, which the word devil just means slanderer, a deceiver, and that's what these people are. They're nothing but slanderers, and they're a bunch of deceivers. Okay, and we know that his time is up. The scripture even tell you in Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12 that the devil he's going to bring down great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Okay, so we know that his time is almost up, because he's coming down with great wrath as we speak. We're seeing him portray his anger and his retaliation as a coiled snake striking back, okay, here in the times that we're living in. This is what these policy changes are all about. Okay, that's why so much is happening around the earth, because this devil is preparing to lash out against the world, because he fears losing his position, because he knows that the Heavenly Father is about to send his son Yahushua back to the earth. Okay, so let's continue a little bit more on this video.
The day that Charlie died, the angels wept, but those tears have been turned into fire in our hearts. And that fire burns with a righteous fury that our enemies cannot comprehend or understand. When I see Erica and her strength and her courage, I am reminded of a famous expression. The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the storm. We are the storm. And our enemies cannot comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion.
Right, and the scriptures talk about that in Revelations chapter 13, if I'm not mistaken. It talks about how the world marveled at the beast, okay, and its power, because it was given power to live again. Okay, let me see if I can get that real quick. All right, and the world has marveled at the strength of this whore, okay, of the beast, which the beast system includes the NATO EU nations, all right, which is spearheaded through America, which all that conglomeration of nations in power, okay, it's a it's the rebirth of the Roman Empire. Okay, so this is Revelations chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 3. And it reads, and I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. There you go. And this is what he's going into. People can't comprehend their power. Well, we read in Daniel chapter 7 how that dragon, that fourth beast, okay, having iron teeth, okay, it devoured the nations, okay, through that might. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar's dream, it talks about the iron legs, and it stamped well, I believe it's still in Revelation chapter 7, or Daniel chapter 7, where it talks about that it stamped the nations with his feet. It trampled over the nations, and that's what America, through the EU NATO nations, have done. They've trampled over the nations of the world to so to say, rule over and govern the earth. This is how the world is governed, and obviously we're starting to see a breakup of power, you know, as other nations have become strong, such as China, Russia, you know, Iran, you know, so on and so forth, and these different coalitions that have been formed. You know, obviously the power is being more dispersed, but still the world is very much conquered by the West. Okay, as you know, that the phrase is commonly used, the West. The Western nations are the ones that rule this earth, predominantly America. Okay, and the world marvels at this beast. They can't figure out how could they ever come up against this beast. And this is the next verse, verse 4. Revelations 13:4, and they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto this beast, and who is able to make war with him? Right. And again, this is why a lot of these NATO EU nations even joined that coalition, is because of the power and might that America gave as a cloak to these nations. Okay, because no one dares mess with one of these allies, one of the NATO EU nations, because of fear of what America would do if a nation was to be attacked. Okay, one of its allies, which again, going into Revelation 17, we know that the America's own allies are going to eventually completely break away from her and shoot at her, shoot arrows, and burn her with fire, as it talks about in Revelations chapter 17, verse 17. Okay, to do the will of the Heavenly Father. But nonetheless, you know, that's to come. Okay, but this is what this man is going into. This is why he's saying that no one can comprehend the strength and power, because this nation, America predominantly, can't nobody really fuck with America like that. Okay, America has the top air force. All right, they have control of the skies, man. And in today's time, okay, battles are won and lost in the air. Okay, but now we've come into an age where it's no longer going to be a battle being fought with jets and planes in the air. It's going to be a battle that's going to be fought and lost through missiles flying in the air. Okay, and when you go back in history, one of the greatest turning points in military history was the inventions of the bow and arrow. Okay, when you go into ancient warfare, the invention of the bow and arrow was a major turning point, because now you were able to attack your enemy from a distance. Okay, even the catapults. Okay, you were able to send large objects on fire and everything to destroy defenses of other nations. And then today, that's what these missiles are used for. The same thing. They get sent off in the air to destroy, first and foremost, the defenses of a nation, by being able to calculate how these nations' defenses operate by sending off dummy missiles, okay, or barrages of missiles, so that you're able to activate that nation's defense systems, to one, see how they operate, and to two, to wear those systems down, okay, to eventually be able to target them. Because once you do that, you're able to infiltrate a nation. But you also have particular nations that have hypersonic missiles that are able to circumvent these defenses. So again, these battles that are going to be fought, the scripture's talking about this, that the battle of old was with garments rolled in blood and confusion of noise. But this battle is going to be fought with fire and burning of fuel, because it's speaking about the missiles that were that nations use today, that we've seen. You've seen Iran and Israel going back and forth lately. You've seen Russia and Ukraine going back and forth lately. And what are they using? Missiles, man. Okay? And that's what America, is still a dominant power, because America has thousands and thousands upon thousands of missiles, man. Not just thermonuclear missiles, but they have different types of missiles, and they have, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, they have one of the largest stockpiles of missiles in the world. Okay? So who's able to make war with this beast, man? Let's continue with this guy.
Lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome.
There you go. Their ancestry hails back to Athens, to Greece, to Rome. The Greeks, the Romans, again, those are two heads of that seven-headed beast that's spoken about in Revelations chapter 7. All right? You had the Greeks, you had the Romans, you had Germania Major, Germania Minor, you had the French, okay, you had the Spanish, and the seventh was Britain, or the British Empire. And it talks about an eighth that came of the seventh, and that eighth head being America, which came of the seventh, which came out of the British Empire. Okay? This man is literally breaking down the scriptures to you without even knowing it, man. He's making it plain upon tables for you. Okay?
Philadelphia to Monticello, our ancestors built the cities. They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands.
You see, they built this infrastructure. They built the architecture. And this is what it talks about in Habakkuk chapter 2. Okay? Let's get that real quick. All right? Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4. It says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." You see, and that's the spirit that this guy in particular has. He has his spirit that's lifted up through pride, man. And he's not upright. He is a proud devil. Okay? It says, where is it? Verse 5, it says, "Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desires hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." And that's what these devils have done, through the process of time, by conquering nations, man. Okay? But let's go from there. Let's get this in Obadiah chapter 1, and it reads, let's just start at verse 1. It says, "The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, and the world despises the so-called white man." All right, the biblical Edomites. They are despised amongst all these nations. When you go to other countries, when you say you're an American, you're automatically put into a category of hate. Okay? These other nations despise Americans. Okay? You're rude. All right? You think everything belongs to you. Okay? And the other nations are completely fed up with it. Okay? It says, "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord." Okay? And that's what these devils do. They think that they can't be brought down. They think that what they have established, okay, is going to stand forever, and it's not. Okay? Their entire system, their entire infrastructure, their entire architectural world is going to come crumbling down, man. There's not going to be any sign of the Edomites ruling on this earth, man. It's going to all be done away with. And there's a scripture, I can't remember exactly where it's at, and I'm trying to also do this in transit. The scripture talks about that they shall build, but I shall break down. Okay? I forget exactly where it's at. But that's these Edomites, man. They think that they built up this world to what we see it today, and they think that nobody's going to be able to bring it down. Well, the Lord said that he would. Okay? The Lord said he would bring this place crumbling down. And these devils are going to have to deal with it, man. Okay? Because their pride has deceived them into thinking that the Lord is not a power that rules in the kingdom of men. But he is. And he's getting ready to show them. And these devils are going to know who the Lord is. And let's go back to that Habakkuk chapter 2. Let's go on down to verse me find the verse. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, and I'll just start at verse 14. Verse 15, Salakia, says, "Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunk, and also that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand, Yahushua, shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory." And so with the right hand of the Heavenly Father, the Lord is going to pass on to him that same cup that he passed on to the world. Except this cup is going to be poured onto him double, according to his works. And the works of the so-called white men on the earth have been nothing but to rob, rape, pillage, and to erase the customs and ways of nations, man. Not just the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but other nations of the world as well. Okay? And Esau has gone as far as taking particular nations' customs and putting it onto himself as if he was the originator of these customs and these ways. Okay? In particular that of the Israelites. Okay? As he goes about calling himself the Lord's people in today's time. But he's sadly mistaken, because the Lord sent out his spirit onto the world to wake up the true Israelites to who they were and to who they are and to whom pertaineth the adoption and the promises. Okay? But this devil is going to have to eat and drink of that cup that he's poured onto the earth, man. All right? So let's continue on with what this dude has to say.
Thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light.
See, that pulled him out of the caves. He's clearly telling you that this is them. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. These are the caves, man. This devil is just straight up just telling you exactly who they are, man. The biblical Edomites. The so-called white man were the cavemen. Not anyone else. We didn't descend, all of the earth's population did not descend from cave dwellers. That's only the so-called white man's history. Okay? One of the most famous sections of the world that they came out of was the Caucasus Mountains, and this is why they call themselves Caucasians. The Caucasus Mountains being over there between Russia and Georgia. Okay? That's one of the most well-known places that these devils descended from in most recent history. But they go back as far as the Mount Petra, okay, out there in the Middle East. And when you look at Mount Petra, the architecture you see carved into those mountains is what? The same architecture that you see the Greeks used, that you see the Romans used, okay, and that you see America and the Western nations use. Italy, okay, which obviously was Rome, but other nations as well. French, the French use this particular style of architecture. Just Google Mount Petra, man, and look at the images of those caves that were carved out into the mountains, man, and the entrances to those caves. That's the so-called white man's doing. Okay? The Edomites. All right? Esau and his descendants. That's who they are. And that's who the Lord has no promise of showing mercy unto. That's who the Lord has indignation with forever. The Edomites. And here very soon we're going to see the end of Esau and the beginning of it that followeth, which is Jacob. Okay? Because Jacob first held the heel of Esau. And that's what these Edomites are trying to fight against. This is who the enemies he's talking about. Those that want to see him out of power. And that includes those of us that believe on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Because for us to believe in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that means that we have to believe that this devil and his world is going to come crumbling down. Okay? And it is, because it's already been prophesied. And we're seeing it happen. Okay, let's continue.
The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot
see, and the scriptures talk about woe to them that put good good for evil and evil for good. Here it is. He's talking about prevailing over those over the workers of wickedness. Well, him and his people are the main workers of wickedness, but they've esteemed wickedness as the potter's clay, as if wickedness is just the normal thing to do. And if you don't commit acts of wickedness and live a wicked lifestyle, then you're looked at as a weirdo. You're looked at as contrary to this world. That's what you're ultimately looked at as. Okay?
imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is.
And ain't nobody worried about you Edomites, man. First and foremost, you're not going to be able to do anything against the Lord's people, the elect, that is, the Israel of Israel. So those of us that have faith in Yahweh Shemi El-Shai, we ain't worried about this devil and his people and their army that have risen up over this CK dude, man. They ain't gonna, first and foremost, they not gonna be able to touch one hair of our heads, man. Now, the rest of you Israelites, especially here in Babylon the Great, America, y'all should be worried, because this devil is going to come down upon you having great wrath. This is what this devil is going to bring in this time of Jacob's trouble, man. His fury, his anger. And he's going to take it out on you Jakes, man. Okay? You better believe that these Edomites are going to get off on you Jakes in these last days, man. All right?
Good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing.
See, you have nothing. That's the pride of these devils, man. These nations have missiles. These nations are ready to blow you Edomites out of the water, man. Literally and figuratively. Okay? But the men of the Lord, those of us that believe on Yahweh Shemi El-Shai, all right, the power of the Bible, the power of the Israelites, all right, the God of the Israelites, we're not going to take up the violence. We're not going to take up arms to fight against these against you devils. We don't have to, because we understand and we know that vengeance belongeth unto the Lord. He's going to be the one to deal with you people. Okay, and he's going to do it again, like I said earlier. He's going to do it through his right hand, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, he's going to use Yahweh Shai to pour that cup onto you. And you're going to have to deal with them. Okay? We just going to sit back and watch the Lord do what he do. Okay?
You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build.
He got them Edomites hyped up. Boy, they love this dude, and they put him in at a perfect time. Halfway through this thing here, you know, this is almost a 5-hour video, and this dude came up to speak around the 2-hour mark, man. So they put him in there at that particular slot to get pique people's interest again. All right, to get them more riled up, because right after him comes Tucker Carlson. All right, but let's keep going.
We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity.
And the scriptures talk about that the earth is defiled amongst the inhabitants thereof. So this devil's talking about lifting people up. The world has become destroyed under the watch of this devil, of these Edomites, under the watch of the so-called white man. The earth is completely through because of him, because of his policies, because of his programs that he's instituted. Okay, through his inventions. Okay, the earth has been defiled. But let's keep going.
thought you could kill Charlie Kirk, you have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us, you cannot slow us, you cannot stop us, you cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. Because our children are strong, and our grandchildren will be strong, and our children's children's children will be strong. And what will you leave behind?
Hey, and he ain't wrong about that. His children's children's children will be strong because they're going to be working in them fields. You see? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. All his children along with him. Okay? So they're going to be strong. I'll tell you that much. They're going to be physically strong because they're going to have plenty of rocks to be picking up. A lot of walls to be putting up. A lot of crops to be reaped. All right?
Nothing. To our enemies, you have nothing to give, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share, but bitterness. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend.
See? And that goes right there to tell you that Job 9:24. The earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. All right. He has been able to build the world as it is today. And the only way he's been able to do that is because he has the power to do so. He has the power to influence nations. He has the power to manipulate nations because the Lord has put him in a position of power to rule over the earth. He is the wicked one. These people, these Edomites, the so-called white man, are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And you Israelites need to get an understanding of that, because these people are not your friends. They are your enemies. Okay? These people have been contrary to you from the very beginning. Okay? From the very beginning, these devils have been against the Lord's chosen people. Okay? But the point's been made. This devil, I believe he only goes on for a little bit longer, but nonetheless, man, he made it very plain for people to see that he has the spirit of an Edomite. This is what an Edomite looks like. Okay? This is the spirit of an Edomite, because you're going to have also, Israelites that look like him, that look like so-called white people, but their spirit is completely different. But this dude right here has the 100% pure spirit of an Edomite. This dude, it fell off the tree of Esau. All right, he is clearly a fruit of an Edomite. Okay, so hey, Lord's with us was edifying. I want to give all the praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and most blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and sincerity. With that, I say Shalom.